If you're planning on retiring within the next 10 years, this video is for you. We're gonna be going over when it makes sense for you to sell your home and downsize versus when it makes sense to keep your home and just stay living in it. I ended up having a conversation with a family who was planning on selling their $1.5 million home because they just felt that the expenses were just too much to upkeep, especially now that they were entering retirement and they were going to stop working. You see, the problem is that in their situation, they could have easily afforded to stay in the property, but they thought that they couldn't because they were gonna stop working. So when does it make sense to downsize and sell your home? You see, one reason that you might wanna downsize is you did not save enough money for your retirement. And your expenses are just probably really high, and your investments are not structured in a way that it can help you cover all of your month-to-month living expenses, plus on top of that, the upkeep of your property every single month, every single year. This is where I see some people that have maybe a couple $100,000 saved up for their retirement, but their expenses are probably $10,000 a month. And if they keep going down this path, they're eventually going to run out of money. So this is where you might want to consider downsizing and putting some of this money in your pocket and just stack it on top of your savings and your investments so that this money can be used to hold you throughout your entire retirement. Now, the second reason that you might want to downsize is you just don't like your home. You probably live in a neighborhood or in a city that you've gotten completely tired of, and you just want to move somewhere else that is more appropriate to the lifestyle that you want to have. Or maybe you just live in a property that's just way too big for you and you're just tired of cleaning it every single day, every single week. Or probably you live in a house that's 2 stories and you know that as you get older, you're not gonna be wanting to go up and down 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, especially as we're getting into our retirement years. So now the question is, when does it make sense for you to stay in your home? You see, the same family that I was talking about had this $1.5 million home that was completely paid off. They had about $700,000 saved up for their retirement, and they had about $6,000 a month coming in every single month between Social Security and a pension, and this added up to about $72,000 every single year. And after building out their spending pattern, they just needed about an additional $25,000 a year for their luxury expenses like shopping and travel. So the question is, do they need to sell their home? Well, the first thing that they said is that they loved where they were living, and the most important thing for them was that they were next to their kids and their grandkids. And all they needed was about an additional $25,000 per year from their savings and their investments to be able to cover their entire annual expenses. And after going through their entire analysis, they had more than enough money inside their investments and their savings to help them supplement these extra $25,000 per year and not run the risk of running out of money in the middle of retirement based on how the money was invested. They originally walked in with the idea that they needed to sell their home because they thought that because they were gonna stop working, they just were gonna run out of money. But by just doing some proper planning and projections, they realized that this was not going to become a necessity. So if you're in a situation where you're debating whether you are looking at downsize, or maybe you're thinking about staying in your home, just please make sure that you just sit down and you do your projections. You want to figure out how much money you need every single month. You want to also look at what's the value of all of your accounts, how much you're spending throughout your entire year. You want to make sure that you're including things like traveling, restaurants, shopping, and your day-to-day living. You also want to calculate what are your guaranteed sources of income, like maybe Social Security or pensions, or probably a rental income that you might have. You also want to make sure that you're factoring in inflation, as we know that expenses today are not going to be the same thing 5, 10, 15 years down the line. So I don't want you to be worried about your retirement, but just remember how the old saying goes, if you fail to plan, you'll plan to fail. The beautiful thing about this is that this concern about being able to retire can literally be solved in less than a 1-hour session with a financial planner. If you'd like to set up a free session, feel free to reach out to us. Just click on the link below. We'll talk to you soon.